My name is Rodney Howard, and I own and operate Hanna Creek Farms at Calhoun, Kentucky. And we have approximately 2,000 acres owned and rented both. And we have a lot of rolling ground as well as flat bottom ground also. We run, of course, corn and beans and wheat. We run about 1,000 acres of corn and about 1,000 acres of soybeans, and then we have, of those soybeans, about 500 acres is double crop behind wheat. We normally spray everything at least twice and sometimes three. We put on a lot of the pre-chemicals, especially for corn, before it comes up, and then we come back over the top on our corn and soybeans. And we also apply fungicides on our soybeans with a sprayer, and fungicides on the wheat with the sprayer also. Back in the early years, we did have a Han full-type sprayer. It was, I think, 40 foot wide. We thought we were doing pretty good with that. I guess we were at the time. And eventually, we went up to the spray coop with the 60-foot booms, and that was a big jump for us. And got along with that for a while, but really it's just, as we grew, it just wasn't a heavy enough machine. I liked the wider width of boom, so we saw a neighbor had an Apache. That was the first one I remember seeing. One of my neighbors bought an Apache. And, you know, we watched it for 2 or 3 years, and finally visited with Richard and started talking to him about maybe trying one out, and I finally traded my spray coop for an Apache. First Apache I had was the 500 with a mechanical shift, and it worked much better than what I had because I had the spray coop. But I had some issues with it jumping out of gear on me, and so I was glad to see him go to the new style transmission. Say I had a 510 next, and I liked that transmission a lot better when we went to the, I'd say, auto shift or whatever you call your lever there. And but one thing I didn't like about it is when you moving on the road, it had a tendency to want to coast on you when you let off of it. So that's one thing I like about the 715 over that one, is this new transmission will gear down for you, and that's really nice. Oh, well, yeah, there's definitely a big difference in the ride. Spray coop just beats you to death. That's just the way it is. And with the Apache, it's a lot smoother ride. It just don't give you that sudden jolt, and it don't give you that bounce like spray coop. Spray coop, I can bounce it off the ground. I can't this one. I like, of course, the bigger booms, but the spray coop's boom system was just so light. Yeah, it just break them up all the time, and with the Apache, you just don't have to worry about that. That's my main concern. Well, just being able to have a bigger tank and wider booms, you can just cover more ground. Less turns on the end. The less time you spend turning, the more time you spend spraying. And I'd say it's probably cut our time down by at least a third. Oh, it does an excellent job of spraying. It's just, this thing's a lot quicker. It's a lot easier on the driver with the auto steer. You just can't imagine how much pressure it takes off of you, especially if you spray all day with the auto steer. And it works really well. In the Acro boom, you don't have to worry about turning it on and off. You can watch where you're going, and watch other things, because it's turning it on and off for you. And then I've got let's see, that auto boom raises up and down. I've got all three on this machine, and it just helps out a lot. You don't have to worry about raising it up, turning off a section, or steering it. As long as you get it turned on the end, it'll take care of it for you. I was real bad about overlapping. That's why I put the auto steer and the Acro boom. That's the reason why I did that on the Apache, because it was costing me too much money without that. Off the top of my head, this probably saved me 10 to 15% in chemicals, because you start overlapping 2 or 3 feet, it don't take long to spend a lot of money. I wouldn't have a sprayer without that anymore. Yeah, visibility out of the cab is much better, really well. I really like it versus spray coop. It's a lot better. You got a lot more glass where you don't have anything blocking your view, and I'd say it's 25% better. Plus you got more room. The cab's wider where you can see out of it better than spray coop's so narrow. You're really confined in it. It's real important to me because I can watch my booms a lot and make sure everything's spraying like it's supposed to be, because, like I say, I got auto steer, so I can look around a little bit. And I like a lot of glass where I can see, and then getting up next to woods, fence lines, you need to be able to see well not to run into them, because auto steer can't go around them on the first pass. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to see to do that. Well, I have one of my hill farms that has about approximately 30% slope, and I used to have a custom spray and they wouldn't spray it. So So I always had to, that's one reason we ended up getting our own sprayers, and I'm on one that's sprayed it so far. It's that steep. And this thing's a lot better than them darn spray coops where they were so narrow. I never would spray it with just very few gallons with a spray coop, but I don't worry about it on this one. I load and go. There's a lot of issues with that little bitty cab, because not only did my head hit the cab, the ceiling, but your arms a lot of times would hit out on the console, especially on the right side. You just don't have a lot of room to, maneuver around. And here you got a lot of room in here. Even if you hit a rut, you just clear everything where you won't hit on your arm or head or anything. Everything seems to be relatively simple to work on, easy to get to, and I really hadn't had a lot of problem at it. We've had a little bit of issue with some lines keep coming loose on us, so we've had to retighten a couple of times. Oh, certain and support on these machines are super. They're there within an hour if you call them, if you have a problem. And parts, and I can't remember a lot. We just had to put on a muffler bracket on it, and they did have to order that one. Most of the time they keep everything in stock. Very few things have ever been ordered. And I know I've had other things I just can't recall right now, but the parts and service was excellent, super. Flow control valve, that was my fault. I get in too big a hurry and I was spraying in fourth gear. You get in situations when you can't do that. And then I overrode the flow control valve and locked it wide open. And it was on Saturday afternoon. I called Richard, and I had it within an hour and was back spraying an hour and a half. Fuel cost they seem to be real economically on the fuel. And I have several jobs that I get stuck doing, so the quicker I can get it sprayed, the quicker I can go do something else. And it's really helped me out a lot, speeding up my spraying time. Well, it's a lot more economical on this sprayer than it is with the other sprayers. You're looking at about $220,000 to buy a four-wheel drive machine, John Deere case, and you can buy these machines for about $135 to $140, and I still get the same job done. Yeah, I'd tell you to buy the Apache.